to the other, you know, Sid, we all like bananas. I mean, we're gorillas. But for me, it goes much deeper than that. And this can be true for some people about marijuana. So for one, it creates euphoria, it relieves boredom, it slows people down, it stimulates interest, it reduces stress, it provides recreation, it can provide friendship, it can, it's natural that someone would want to do it again. The issue with it after the high is what I call the pharmacological insult, which is that you tend to end up with the opposite of what you are looking for once the marijuana wears off. Number one, you feel down and there's a loss of energy. Number two, life seems more dull and boring. Number three, the learning that you think was happening is more impaired, and it takes a while for the brain to come back into balance. You know, what Dr. Trotter said was, it's not bagels, it's not nothing. We are doing, and this is something that I think that kids don't get, is we are doing something to the brain. We are changing the way the brain works for a while.
Wow.
Lastly,
I have to say that you are at the finish line, sir.
Can I go one more minute?
If you'll give him another minute.
I will.
I want to hear what...
Last minute. One of the things that I say to kids is, because kids have seen The Wizard of Oz, is that in The Wizard of Oz, you know, here Dorothy is on her way to try to find home, and they told her, you know, you go to Oz, there's a wizard there that's going to help you go home. And on the way there, you know, she meets somebody, the scarecrow needs a brain. Oh, well, come to Oz. Oz will help you get a brain. Someone else, the Tin Man is looking for a heart. Oz will get you a heart. Someone else is looking for courage. So it's a metaphor for people on a road going to get a heart, to get a brain, to get a life, to get home. And what happens is they see Oz off in the distance, and between them and Oz are the poppy fields. And what happens in the movies is that they get lost, they get a big smile on their face, they go into the poppy fields and go to sleep. And part of what I want to be able to do with kids, like Glinda the Good Witch did, was say, hey, wake up, don't get lost in the poppy fields, keep your eye on the prize here, you want to put together a life for yourself.
And now we would like to move over to Dr. Courtney.
Could we, can we cue up? Thanks a lot. Well, while this is coming, I'd like to make a few comments. In some ways, I guess I'm also the Marijuana Anonymous. People do come to me with addiction problems. I put that into Todd McArea's list that, you know, some people do have a problem with it, and they come to me and ask me, how can I taper off of this? Oftentimes they're in 12-step programs, but still struggling with it. So I do understand that it can have a wide range of effects, and that's an important part of practicing cannabis medicine. In terms of the serotonin system, there was a very positive comments, and what's important to also know is that there are several classes of compounds in cannabis. One of them are flavonoids, a bizarre collection of molecules, but they bind to the 1A and 2A serotonin receptors and act as agonists and antagonists and have a direct action on the serotonergic system. And I've had patients who, through the use of just the leaf, were able to decrease their reliance upon Prozac, which has considerable side effects, where one thing cannabis is noted for is that it's a fairly benign drug in terms of its pharmacologic side effects. So cannabis does have an interaction outside of the dopamine system and is involved in mood stabilization, and quite a number of my patients use it for dysphoria. But I think an important point that he made is that individuals really run a very wide range in neurobiochemistry as well as immunologic biochemistry, and cannabis does have a wide range of effects, and particularly that balance he showed between euphoria and dysphoria. There's something that happens as we age. Dysphoria becomes more common, the anxieties become more common, and what was in adolescence a dopamine release may become a dopamine blocker, because there's a large number of my patients who wish that the THC wasn't there. They do have enough medical benefit that they're willing to consider that a side effect, and they tolerate the THC and its anxiety in order to get to a lot of the medicinal benefits, which are primarily in the inflammatory and the immune system. He had mentioned about the hippocampus and learning. as I was invited to this this panel, and I thank you for that, Hal, I started to talk with my patients or pay a little more attention last week, and I've had a number of patients who, as young adults, recall they're beginning to use cannabis in high school and did very well. They were able to focus. They probably did have some attention deficit issues, and became straight A students and were very productive and used cannabis regularly for that. And that differs from the person who has an addictive, either psychological or physical predilection, and the cannabis becomes an escape route. So cannabis really has a wide range of impacts, but we have to be careful that we don't throw out the baby with the bathwater and somehow try to allow those who can get by without being on Ritalin and other drugs to allow them to have access to its frequent usage, while another person who would probably have trouble with school in the first place maybe hides in THC and ignores the issues. And those people do need a lot of extra special attention, and whether it's alcohol, whether it's cough syrup, whether it's inhalants, whether it's cannabis, they're gonna have a substance abuse issue because they want to feel good so badly that they turn to whatever is available. And in this county, cannabis is available, and so it can become